Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Thursday, November 21st, 2024, and these are your unbiased updates. The FBI believes it thwarted an attack on the New York Stock Exchange. This morning, who's in custody, where, and what he supposedly had stockpiled in a storage unit. And deadly bomb cyclone, a 1-2 punch for the Pacific Northwest. After massive amounts of rain and wicked winds, what to expect when something called an atmospheric river arrives.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
This morning we begin with developing news from the war in Europe, which has passed 1,000 days. Ukraine's Air Force saying Russia has launched an intercontinental ballistic missile during a morning attack. This would be the first time Russia has used the powerful long-range weapon since the start of the war. Russia's actions follow Ukraine reportedly firing U.S. and British-made missiles at targets inside Russia this week. Russia had said Ukraine's use of American-made and Western weapons to strike inside the country would be seen as an escalation in the war. Ukraine says today's attack from Russia targeted critical infrastructure. The Ukrainian Air Force says it shot down 6 cruise missiles during the attack. It is not clear at this time how much damage the intercontinental ballistic missile caused in Ukraine. Back here in the U.S., a Florida man is facing charges. He's accused of planning to blow up the New York Stock Exchange. The FBI says agents arrested the man, identified as 30-year-old Harun Abdul Malik Yener, yesterday. The investigation started in February after the FBI received a tip that Yener was keeping bomb-making supplies in a storage unit. Investigators say they found bomb-making sketches, watches with timers, electronic circuit boards, and other electronics that could be used for building explosive devices in Yener's Coral Springs storage unit. Court documents indicate Yener also told undercover FBI agents he wanted to set off the bomb the week before Thanksgiving and that, quote, tons of people would support an attack on the stock exchange and that his goal was to reset or reboot the U.S. government. In Washington, no agreement. That's the outcome of Wednesday's closed-door meeting of the House Ethics Committee after the panel discussed whether to release the report on its investigation into former Congressman Matt Gaetz. He's President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General. Since 2021, the committee had been looking into allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use against the Florida lawmaker, pausing its investigation for a time while the Justice Department conducted a probe. The DOJ ultimately not filing any charges due to credibility problems with the witnesses. The House committee ending its investigation after Gaetz resigned as a member of Congress following Trump's nomination. Gaetz has denied any wrongdoing. The meeting in Washington lasted a little over 2 hours. Republican Congressman Michael Guest of Mississippi, who chairs the committee, told reporters before the start of the meeting that some of the reservations he had about releasing the report were that it was not complete and has not gone through the review process. Meantime, Congresswoman Susan Wild of Pennsylvania, the ranking Democrat, said the decision came down to party lines, with the 5 Republicans on the panel siding against releasing the report and the 5 Democrats voting in favor of it. Wild said the committee will convene again on December 5th to further consider the matter. Following the panel's meeting, 2 Democratic congressmen each moved to compel a vote from the full House on the issue. The Trump transition team has called the accusations against Gaetz baseless. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance was at the Capitol on Wednesday, accompanying Gaetz to meetings with Republican senators. Vance looking for support prior to a confirmation hearing next year. Gaetz telling reporters on Wednesday night that senators have been, quote, supportive and they have promised a fair process. Parts of the West Coast are now facing a new threat as a deadly bomb cyclone winds down. It's combining with an atmospheric river. The combination is expected to cause heavy downpours and lead to life-threatening flooding throughout the rest of the week. At least 2 people were killed and more than 200,000 homes and businesses remain without power in Washington state after hurricane-force winds from the bomb cyclone roared through, triggering mudslides, blocking roads, and damaging homes. Now, the atmospheric river is expected to bring up to 16 inches of rain and snow to parts of Northern California and Oregon. It will turn into wet snow at higher elevations in the Cascade Mountains, creating blizzard conditions there. The U.S. government wants to break up Google. The Department of Justice is asking a federal judge to force the sale of the Google Chrome web browser to keep the company from continuing to squash competition through its dominant search engine. This comes after a landmark ruling earlier this year found Google violated U.S. antitrust law to maintain an abusive monopoly over the past decade. In a 23-page document, the Justice Department also called for tighter restrictions to prevent Android from favoring Google's search engine. Bloomberg says if the move is approved by a judge, Chrome could sell for as much as $20 billion. Finally, this morning, history was made at the University of Connecticut Wednesday night as the Huskies coach Gino Auriemma became the winningest coach in NCAA Division I basketball history, men's or women's. Number 2 ranked UConn defeated Fairleigh Dickinson 85-41, giving Auriemma his 1,217th career win in front of a sold-out hometown crowd, as well as 60-plus former players and a live goat. Auriemma surpassed legendary Stanford coach Tara Vanderveer's record. She had just set the record last season before retiring. Vanderveer took over the title of wins leader from longtime Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski. The 7-year-old Auriemma, here you see him with the GOAT, greatest of all time, is in his 40th season at UConn. He has led the Huskies to 6 undefeated seasons, 23 Final Fours, and 11 national titles. All he does is win. Those are your unbiased updates for this Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.